Hello fellow humans, I hope you're ready to continue with this spooktastic theme from our last episode. In fact, I liked it so much, I may make this channel only for dark stories. What do you think? Alright, well, today we're going to cover why Pokemon Go can be super sketchy, and then we're going to dive into a personal account of a Skinwalker encounter. If you don't know what a Skinwalker is, I highly encourage you to do a little research and check it out, or at least Google a picture. But, just like with our last episode, which you should go check out by the way, I want to give a trigger warning. These stories are fairly dark, and if you're easily disturbed by real-life stories or encounters, I suggest you click off and find some happy vibes that are more up your alley. No matter what you do, you're all awesome. And without further hesitation, I am the Reddit Rabble. Let's jump down this rabbit hole together. This was posted by Coffeeholic Comics. True Pokemon Go Scary Story. So, this story takes place in late 2016, the year Pokemon Go came out, and the time the game had huge hype around it. So, me being a teenager who wanted to play what everyone else was playing, I got the game myself, and I enjoyed it. One of my friends also played the game, and we had the idea of having a sleepover at my house, and have our own Pokemon adventure together. We both thought it was going to be a lot of fun. So we got it organized, and my friend, who I will call Dan, stayed over at my house. For the day, we messed around, ate snacks, played video games on my PS4, etc. It was at 10 p.m. when Dan suggested we go out and play Pokemon Go. I brought up that it was too late, but he persisted. So I asked my mom if it was fine, and she said it was. Sure, I had my concerns and all, but I honestly thought nothing bad would happen. This was due to the fact that I live in a small and quiet town. No one would be out this late, so it wasn't like we were going to get mugged in an alley. So we grabbed our phones and headed off down the main street of my town. We walked past the cemetery, then past the football oval. But as we passed the football oval, we saw a black Ford Territory parked by it. No lights were on, so we didn't think anyone was inside of it. So we walked past it. We got onto the footpath, past the oval, when we noticed the Ford pull up next to us on the footpath. We found it strange, but kept walking anyway. We were passing the post office when we saw the same Ford pull into the car park in front of the post office. This gave us the suspicion this random car was following us, so we kept walking, but at a faster pace. We walked past the post office, and were now walking past our town park. As we were walking by the park, Dan told me to hide behind the bushes, which surrounded the park entrance. As we crouched down behind the bushes, we saw the Ford pull on at the park entrance, confirming 100% that this Ford was following us. After what felt like an eternity for me, the Ford drove off, and we got out of the park and started running back to my house. As we started running back to my house, I looked behind me to make sure the Ford was gone, and what I saw horrified me. The car turned left at the end of the street. I originally thought that maybe he was just leaving town, but then I realized this park has two main entrances. The way he turned, he was driving to the second entrance, meaning he believed we ran to the other side of the park, and he was trying to cut us off that way. There was no argument left. This guy wasn't following us for safety purposes or etc. He was chasing us. I am not an athletic person, unlike my friend Dan, but in this instant, I was keeping up with him from the sheer fear of what will happen if this driver caught us or what his intentions were with us. We ran past the post office, past the football oval, and we were halfway past the cemetery when we saw the headlights of the Ford behind us, and I was terrified. There was nowhere to hide. It was a footpath with a giant fence separating the footpath and the cemetery. There was nothing to hide behind. Luckily enough, Dan came up with an idea. He pointed out that we were both wearing dark hoodies. He said to put the hood over our heads, crouch down, and pretend to be rocks. At the time, I thought it was an absolute stupid idea, but that was all we had, so we just did that, pretended to be rocks. And the Ford drove past us. No slowing down at all, which meant the stupid plan actually worked. After he drove past, we continued booking it. We were at the end of the cemetery when we saw him driving our way again. This time, there was a bin to hide behind, which we did. He drove past us again, and we continued booking it. We got to my house and locked the door behind us to ensure some kind of safety. We explained to my mom what happened, and after that day, she made some new rules. No more playing Pokemon Go at night, and my little sister was not allowed to go out by herself to play it. She wasn't happy about that, but at least we're still here to tell the story. COP, this gives me chills, because I love to play that game, and I used to go out at night a lot. I live in a fairly quiet town as well, and the more I read stories like this, the more I just don't trust anything outside my house. Even in a town this size, I don't really know anyone, and I think that's kind of the case everywhere nowadays. When these small towns were first built, there weren't as many people in there, so everyone kind of knew everyone, and little towns were super safe. But people just don't know their neighbors like they used to, and so the safety in these small communities is almost gone. I am so glad you and your friend made it home safe, though. Hopefully that guy got picked up soon after this. This one comes from Crystallized Demons. Encounter with a Skinwalker. Kinda long story. Alright, so this one is probably a really popular one that people were waiting to hear about, so let's just get straight into the story. I was staying with a friend and a few of his cousins that I was very close with because I basically grew up with them. My friend's house was deep in the woods, but it's also a very big wooden house, almost looks like a cabin. It was just me, my friend Anthony, cover name for privacy, and his 3 cousins, Danica, Clyde, and Diamond. Also cover names for privacy. I was in the kitchen, making me a snack. As I was standing in the kitchen, the hair on the back of my neck stands straight up due to this ominous burst of cold air going through me. My hands start shaking, and it feels like a heavy weight is on my chest. It gets harder to breathe, and I feel like I'm about to pass out. Out of nowhere, Danica comes downstairs for a drink and sees me just standing there. She calls out to me, and that's what breaks me free of this feeling. I turn around with wide eyes, and she looks at me asking me if I'm alright. I start breathing normal again and say yes, not wanting to freak her out. A few hours later, we are all upstairs in Anthony's room. Clyde hears something coming from downstairs, and he asks Anthony if anyone was coming home late. Anthony responds saying no one is supposed to be home for about another day or 2. At this point, I'm confused because I didn't hear anything at all, but I feel a very strong presence, almost the same presence I felt downstairs. At that moment, we all hear the garage door being opened. The only way to open the garage door is in the laundry room. We all look at each other. Just as I'm about to say something, the power shuts off. My mind goes blank, and I don't know what to think. Anthony grabs his phone and turns on the flashlight. I do the same. But we're just standing there, too scared to move. I go towards the light switch and flip it up and down, as if that was going to do something. Anthony simply says it was just the power box. It shuts off at least once a month. He then says the power box is in the garage. Now, I've seen a lot of scary movies and read a lot of scary stories, but there is also that rule not to be dumb or a hero. So that's why I decided I would be the hero and turn on the power box. Anthony decided to go with me, and the others stayed upstairs. We started walking downstairs and towards the garage, but then I got that feeling again, like a dark energy surrounds me. It didn't seem like Anthony felt the same things because he kept walking towards the garage. We open the door, and the garage door is wide open. Now, I would be lying if I said the typical, I saw something in the corner of my eye, or the power shut off again, but no. After we turned it back on, it was back to normal. That is, until 2 in the morning. I wake up to Danica shaking me, saying she thinks she hears something outside. I sit up and I listen closely. There's nothing really happening, so I think she just was half asleep. Just as I'm about to say something, I hear loud footsteps on the roof. Now, this is a 2-story house, and the only way on the roof is through Anthony's parents' room. I don't know what to think, nor do I know what it is. The footsteps are too heavy to be a small animal, such as a raccoon or a squirrel. Danica starts gagging, and the others wake up in disgust. Then that's when it hits me. The smell of rotting flesh, old blood, fresh smell of rust and decaying bone. My hands start shaking because I know that smell, or something very similar to it. And all the stories my uncles told me. Fear overtakes me, and my eyes start watering. Danica sees me and asks me if I'm okay. The only thing that can come out of my mouth is Skinwalker. All their faces go pale. My friend and his cousins are also Native American. They're Creek, and they're also aware of the stories. We're just looking at each other, and finally there's a noise. The noise of footsteps, slowly walking towards the front of the house. Since it was late at night, the porch lights were off. To this day, I wish the lights were on. It goes quiet again, and that's when a faint knock on the front door is heard. I get up and run towards the stairs, and the rest follow me. The smell is unbearable, and I feel like I'm about to throw up. I ask Anthony if he has a feather or anything like that in the house, and thankfully he does. I was always told that if I come across an evil spirit, I have to say my grandfather's name in my tribe's language. From the stories I was told from my family, my grandfather used to be a medicine man who encountered many evil things. Skinwalkers, shapeshifters, witches, etc. Just as I'm about to go up the stairs, the smell of cedar and sage fill the house. Danica screams, and I swear I will never get the sound out of my head. We all hear a distorted but very close scream out of the side at the front door that sounds just like Danica. Now, I always heard that they can copy voices and even look like someone to lure you towards them. And I really wish I was making this up, but I swear that thing was trying to talk. I didn't hear much due to me being on the stairs and the 2 girls crying and my heavy breathing, but I think it was saying, "Help me," or "Come out here." I'm not fully sure, but I do know it was trying to lure us out there. Anthony gives me a feather, and I tell everyone to come near me and hold hands. I can't speak Ho-Chunk very well. I only know how to say prayers and have simple conversation, but I can understand it good. So I start saying a prayer and fanning down everyone. I think the Skinwalker knew what I was doing because I swear I heard it start to laugh. After I said my grandfather's name, the smell of sage and cedar slowed and drifted away along with the smell of decaying flesh. We all calmed down, but we did not go to sleep that night. Thank you. I know this was a long story, but I thought I would get this one out of the way. I want to say this is one of my longest stories, but I really wish I could say I made this up. But there are some things that you cannot make up nor forget. I hope you guys like this one, and there will be more stories on the way. Thank you, and have a good day. Holy shit, OP. That is absolutely terrifying. I don't even know how I would react in a situation like that. What you did was incredibly smart, though. I do believe that certain energies have power, and spirits like that are a big one. It's good that you had that kind of knowledge, and quite frankly, an awesome grandpa. I'm so glad you guys are all safe and able to tell this story. Well, that's my time. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, or if you made it all the way through, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more videos like this. And leave me a comment. Tell me your scary story. Maybe I'll feature you in one of my videos. Anyway, love you guys. I am the Reddit Rabble, signing off.